Next, we have Eshet, who is the owner of the Eshet Cohen agency and represents some of Israel's top actors, writers, and directors. Next, we have Tmira Yardeni, who is the owner of Tedy Productions, who has produced some of Israel's biggest shows, including The Comedy Store, Kochav Nolad, Born to Dance, and Euphoria. She has also received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Israeli Academy of TV and Film. Finally, we have Karni, who is the head of drama and comedy at Keshet. She is responsible for the development and management of creative processes in all of Keshet's scripted productions. She also supervises content related to all creative aspects of Keshet International's drama collaborations. Among her successful work are shows such as False Flag, Your Family or Mine, The Baker and the Beauty, The Brave, Our Boys, and many, many more. We also have a great moderator today who has helped actually put this panel together, so we're very grateful. She is also our advisory board member, Orly Adelson, who is the head of Orly Adelson Productions and former president of Dick Clark Productions and ITV Studios America. And now I'll turn it over to you, Orly.
Thank you so much, Matthew. And here we go. We have Matthew and we have Arion with us today. And thank you both for helping put this all together. And we have this extraordinary panel, which now I'm seeing you guys. It's so nice to see you here with us. So let me start. We're at a changing world here. We have never seen it before. The entertainment business here is shut down completely. And rumors are that on your side of the world, it's a little bit different, and we'll touch upon it. But Karni, in this changing world, I'd like to know how the network is approaching it. What are you thinking? And how has it been in the last 2 months?
Okay, so first, thank you and hi, everybody here from Israel. I think I need to say that it took Tmira, our CEO, like 5 minutes to understand what's going to happen. We were supposed to have a Purim party, and in the same day, he understood that something bad is going to happen, so we canceled it. And I think it took him like 2 days to understand what the situation is and to start changing our schedule and be flexible so we can deal with the new situation. We haven't stopped making television. I think we understood quite quickly that we have a duty in this situation. On one side, to give information. So we're very flexible with our news slots. We have a lot of news slots, and we expanded the main news event that usually we had on 8 o'clock. It's now much longer. And on the other hand, I think we understood that it's time, because everybody is sitting now together at home. So we have a job to be there for them and to entertain. So we changed the schedule according to those 2 things that we thought that is our job. On the one hand, we have a lot of news, but on the other hand, we had a lot of special events, and we took some of our big shows, and we tried to transform them according to the budget situation and the reduce of commercial breaks. So, for example, we took our main, our Saturday Night Live that is called We Have a Great Country. And instead of doing a show of 70 minutes, they recorded a show of 70 minutes, but we used it in 2 different nights. So I think we utilized the breaks, and we made it more cost effective. The same we did with Married from First Sight. We had long shows, and now we're broadcasting, twice a week, but short slots. And
So,
we had
Karni,
and
may I
probably
stop you?
Tmira and Assi. Yes, sure.
May I stop you for 1 second? Because that's really interesting. So what you're doing is you're taking your shows and actually dividing them to shorter period of time in order to accommodate news and information, correct?
Exactly, and the breaks that unfortunately
yes.
were reduced. Yeah, and we had some special events. Some of them Tmira and Assi can tell about. We have a special live music show at night. We have that we found sponsors for this slot. We have a new slot of cooking event at the lunch with our best chefs. And again, we found a sponsor for that, especially for that, again, because the problems that we have now with advertising.
So I'll touch upon the productions because that's really interesting because we are not producing anything but information at the moment and shows from home, but you're doing it differently, but we'll touch upon it in 1 second. And I'll jump to Romi. Romi, hi. You don't know, but she's my niece, so I'm happy to have her here with us. Romi, you came to Israel because you lived most of the time in London. You split your time, but most in London, and you came to Israel to do a show in Israel when just before all this happened. And you're still in Israel, but please tell us about the show you were doing and what happened when the pandemic started.
You are maybe the microphone. You need to open the microphone. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was shooting a show for Yes by Erez Kovel. It's a drama about the sort of like night restaurant lifestyle of Tel Aviv. So it's a kind of like a fun drama show. And we had to stop just after about 3/4 into the shoot. Which I know probably happened to a lot of other productions that I know of. A lot of my friends, actors, producers, writers, they've all had a lot of their shows stop midway or just before they started. But it left me in Israel, stuck in Israel, and having to sort of like figure out what I'm going to do next. And interestingly, I think it allowed for some sort of like self-creative exploration, which I think is something that is one of the benefits, quote unquote, or positives of this, is for us actors to sort of think again on what part we play in this industry in general. Because I think if something like this means that we are out of work, and that's obviously an even bigger issue for anyone that's doing theater. That's going to take even longer, and that's going to have a much bigger impact on theater actors or live experience actors, is to take more action and more control into what we do, and in the sense of developing our own materials and becoming creators. So I think that coronavirus just sort of enforced something that was going on, I think, in my mind at least, and knowing from other colleagues, actor colleagues, is that we should take a bit more control on our own destiny and professional destiny. And I know this is a trend of something that's happening around the world, but just seeing that there's more hunger, even more hunger for content now than ever before, it's an opportunity for actors to be part of that movement.
So we have an agent with us.
So first, I'm super happy, and I'm super happy to be here, and thanks for the opportunity. And that's also an opportunity to say Mazal Tov to Karni Ziv.
That's right.
There is no award she didn't take yesterday with the Ne'arim. So
just so I would say one thing, our boys swept the Israeli Emmys yesterday. I was give it its own little part later on in our conversation. But of course, kudos to you. It was an amazing show, but we'll get to it later. So
thank you.
What is happening? We're going from Romi, who says the self-exploration, how as an agent you are handling what's happening.
Yeah, in general, as an agent in the Corona time, I have two crises to manage. It's the financial side and the exposure, how to stay relevant and how to keep the momentum going. And as we all know, actors are not the first to come and offer ideas. Most of them, except Romi, of course, are waiting for a call for doing auditions. And now the actors had become proactive. And this is the first time that I see how they changed the way of thinking. And I'm all the time saying to my actors that this is the time to think out of the box. And in the new situation, it makes me to think wider than only as an agent and to connect between content to networks, but to think like sometimes as a producer. And maybe Tmira has something to say, but it's like, I found myself raising money to produce content and creating web series for my actors. And some of the time to think like an advertising agency and to think creatively about campaigns that my actor can lead at this time of the Corona. And actors needs exposure to stay relevant. An amazing example is Assi, that Assi was one of the first to start the live on Instagram. And even though he has the TV programs and the commercials and billboards, he keeps himself visible. And that was super impressive to see that from the side. By the way, he had to do that because no one goes to the airport anymore, which is the place there is not even one wall without his face on it.
So, which leads me to him, which I'll come back to you, which leads me to Assi. Assi, I got from you the strangest email I've gotten in, I would say, 2.5 months. Orly, we have the call on Tuesday, not Monday. I'm working Monday. Normally I get now, anytime, it's all good, call morning, day and night. And I called you up and you said, no, I'm working, I'm doing a show. So we have a clip on the show that I would love to show for a second because I'd like to talk to you about how that came about.
Sure.
And wait, I hope that we're getting the clip. Here it is.
גל, את צריכה לנחש שירי. את מתחילה. את רוצה לעמוד פה שהיא תראה אותך? 30 שניות, go.
סדרה. 2 מילים. 2 מילים, מילה שנייה.
לא לגעת.
רותם, אתם אוהבות, את קרובה אליה. את מחבקת אותה. אסי. אסי דופק בדלת. אסי ורותם. להיות איתה. להיות איתה.
אסי דופק בדלת. וואו, גל, לאן הלכת?
אסי דופק בדלת. אוקיי, ראינו חבר'ה. אוקיי, איתה.
That's perfect. Thank you. I guess we're getting the panel back on. So how did this come about? And I know we have the producers here too, the company who produced it and the producer here too, but Assi, I'll start with you. How did you feel about going back to work? It's in a studio, there are people. How for you the experience was?
First of all, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. I was actually I was very happy to go back to work. Obviously, I wasn't afraid at all. It might be like a bit naive, but I believe that as a TV persona and as a person that works in doing entertainment for the people, I think that our job is to become soldiers in those times and produce entertainment while so many people are locked in their houses, suffering from fear, anxiety. So whatever I could do to make people smile, I immediately wanted to join in. That's why I started doing the live Instagram chats. I just wanted to make people smile because I know just a little bit about anxiety and how scary it can be when you suffer from anxiety. So I wanted to do whatever I can to make people relax and smile. And that show specifically that we just saw, it's a very old show that Tmira produced in 2002. And it's a show that, in my mind, in normal days, without the coronavirus, it would never be able to come back to the screen. But now, when we had to find something that is small budget, small studio, something that makes people smile, sing, relax, that was the perfect show. And it was actually, we took the right call because the show became a success immediately. And also, what was also extremely surprising is that to get 6, what you saw from two sides were 6 of the most busiest artists in Israel, and Gal Gadot, the star of Wonder Woman, on the screen. To get those 7 people in the studio in normal days is impossible. But today, when nobody is working, especially singers, but they're not performing, and Gal, which is in LA, worrying about her family in Israel, and also has a very big need to make people feel happy, relaxed, smiling, all of us joined together to create that show. So for me, it was a blessing, and I loved doing it.
And I'll jump from here for a second to Tmira. Here you are. You made a show 2002, was it? What made you bring it back? And how, as a producer, can you today gather people together in a studio? I mean, it's unheard of as you can imagine, here in LA at the moment.
Okay, first of all, Tedy, which is a company of 47 years, something like this, is almost shut down in one day. One day, everything stopped. And when the opportunity to do something, you have to feel is something like a partner of mine, and he's the leader. He's the creator of most of my shows, of my reality shows. He thought it will be it will be good to do it. The only problem that I, in my age, had to be at home when they were in the studio.
Wow.
And that should ask Assi in Style Rising, 70 years. Every day of the studio, I'm there. This is not, it was crazy. I had to be at home. I felt like they can push us away and we will not do this anymore at our age. And they made it in every few moments. I spoke to the producer, in the bar, and said, how is it going? Who is doing it? What is going on now? Wow, was quite an experience, I must tell you. But I overcome it, and listen.
So was it mandatory for you to stay home, or was that a choice you made?
No. My age, which is 72, is like 720 now in Israel. Don't move anywhere, and everybody say, don't go, don't come, please. I'm running my office now, only the last 2 weeks for my yard at home. Outside, people are coming with the masks, and we're sitting very far away, and it's very, 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 very crazy.
So, Tmira, I want to touch upon something else you're doing.
Okay.
Just before this, I had 2 shows that were about to start.
Yeah.
one of them at least with our friend Sharon Arel. So tell me, what stage were you at, and what are the plans now, moving forward?
Okay. The first one is Ron Leshem's series. It's we were actually a day before shooting. Everything was everything was good, and then we had to stop. It's a big damage.
Tell us what it's about. Tell us what it's about, please.
It's about airplane, which is something we don't remember what it is. Disappeared in the someday, and nobody knows what happened.
Got it.
Then the Shabak and everybody began to look for hints and that and there, and it's Ron Leshem and Amit, the way they write, and it's very, you want to know what happened there, and it's interesting. But we couldn't shoot any one scene even, because a day before we began, everything stopped. And this is a very big damage. And also the director, Asaf, he lives in LA, so he went back home. No way to do it. And I tried, we spoke with him to try to gather it and to begin to shoot. And he is afraid to do it. So we will see how to do it. And we don't have yet answer from the insurance company if they want to insurance Corona. For the time being, they don't want. They don't accept it. I have another show, lighter one. It's for youth people. And I think we want to begin in June to shoot. We don't want to wait. I hope they won't stop us.
In June, you're planning to shoot already?
Yeah, we could do it before.
So production will start around the next week or two, or?
No, the production began months ago, but now everything stopped, and we decided we get the people in the office. I'm at home, and we want to shoot it. Yeah, we decided, and we hope that they won't stop us, because there's no reason. Israel now is almost open, and
no, Tmira, Israel is not open.
No, you can see outside the window that people are driving, and it's like more. It's not worse than what it was.
It's more open. It's not open.
Yeah, it is more.
Yeah, that's right.
When
Assi is right.
And when the garden school will begin, which will begin in Sunday, it will be okay. Yeah, let's be optimistic.
That's true for everybody. So
let's think that this virus will disappear in the summer, like your president said, Trump.
So here we go, and I'd like to go back to Assi, Beauty and the Baker, which of course I always want to call it Beauty and the Beast, because it just opened. Beauty and the Baker just opened in the States. 3 episodes in, really successful, great reviews. Although one review said it missed Mark Ivanier from the American show, which I would definitely support. But he's also my nephew, so here we are.
Only we have a talented family.
Yes.
It's an item, yeah.
So no one thought about you as a writer. They thought about you as a host. I mean, you wrote your own things, you entertained, you did. How did it come about that here you are writing a show that has become so successful both in Israel and now here?
Well, the truth is very, the truth is, I began writing because I wanted to be an actor, but when I was young, I thought that actors, if you're an actor, people will suspect that you're gay. That's what I thought, because I was gay in the closet. So I thought, if I'm not gonna act, at least I'm gonna like work in the industry as a writer. But I started writing The Baker and the Beauty at the age of 33 because you might not believe it. I mean, the viewers, you probably know it. In Israel, if you're a very successful TV host, you're still no Ryan Seacrest. You still can't like buy 5 mansions, 10 cars. So you're always searching to make more money or to produce more things from yourself. So I started to pitch ideas for my bosses, and one day I saw Notting Hill. I was dating a guy from London, and I saw Notting Hill, and I thought, wow, that can actually work in Israel. If I take my story, because I'm a son of a baker, and I'll invent that the baker boy is dating a very famous woman, because I'm a very famous woman myself. If I'll combine that, that can be really, really interesting as a show. And surprisingly, they loved the idea. They didn't want to give me money for the entire season because they didn't know if I can write. They sent me to write. I was lucky enough or smart enough to ask from Ron Leshem, the writer of the Oscar-winning movie Before, and the writer of the book, obviously, and one of the most smart men I've ever met in my life, to help me write. And he was my script editor, and he taught me everything I know about writing. And from there, it just like became what it is. It was overwhelming for me as well. When I watch it these days, I still can't believe that I created this show. It's unbelievable for me. I love it very much.
And Karni, you were involved in it. So tell us from your perspective how that felt. And here's someone you know one way is coming in with something you're not expecting.
You're talking now about the Israeli version or about the American
The Israeli version, even though you are involved in.
When I joined Keshet, there was already I think Assi finished shooting, I think, the first season. And I think I was one of the first people in Keshet that had the honor to watch the offlines. And I said, wow, this is going to be a great show and a great success. And it was. And fortunately for us, Assi wanted, and of course, it's combined with our wish to write another second season that Assi had, in a way, he found a way to invent another new story with those characters, but to bring a new and fresh take of these relationships and about that family. And I think when we talk about successful Israeli shows that can go all over the world, and you need to know that The Baker and the Beauty had an adaptation in Netherlands and in Russia, and now in the States, and hopefully in South America.
In India.
I think, and in India, right? Shooting these days, or I think editing already. I think it means that we had a very good creator that wrote a very good story and had very good characters that all over the world people can relate to the core story and to the core relationship, and can find themselves, never mind if they live in India or in the United States. And we need to be fortunate enough to find a very good local creator that will take our story and make it in the right way, find the right approach from his culture. And I think we were lucky enough to have Dean Gregorius in the American show, and I think Assi can tell you about his relationship with Dean that were very good, and they talked a lot about the series. So I think this is a key of making the good adaptation.
And Romi, I'll jump to you because I know you about to make a deal on a series you created, and you had also Haggai join you to help, but it's your idea and your vision, and you put it together. And how was that for you? I know you went to film school, so it's a little bit different than just acting. You actually, your vision is writing, directing, doing the whole thing. So tell me about the process of that.
So in terms of my sort of the backstory that led me to this is that I, unlike Assi, I was an actress from a very young age. So I didn't have the time to want to be an actress because I was just an actress from the age of 12. And I think it was when I was about 20 that I felt that I needed more. I needed more scope to express myself. And I went to film school, and then eventually I've done various things in the industry. I'm a creative director and a video editor, and I do various things, but I've been focusing on developing this detective thriller in the past year and a half. Karni knows about that project because we've been discussing it, and I've been co-creating it with my husband, who's a film and TV producer. So it's a very homegrown project. His name is Ben Giladi, and it's been very exciting because it's really have been that degree of sort of creativity that I was looking for. Taking an idea that is somewhat based on true events. It's a detective thriller that takes place in the Hasidic world between Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and New York, and deals with illegal abortions and adoptions, and themes that were relevant to my personal story in the past 2 years, because I had a baby and I was very involved in that sort of material, and we're setting it up where we've co-financed the we self-financed the development, and we're trying to set it up as a either European co-production or as an American-Israeli co-production.
Interesting. So it brings me back to Tmira. Here you are. It's an interesting perspective of what you told us about what you're going through as somebody who, by the way, your body of work is remarkable, a legend within the community of producers. You're told you have to stay home in this period of time. Have you found yourself being creative in the isolation period?
Yes, the isolation period, it wasn't by myself. I spoke with people. We're trying to develop and we have some series that we have to shoot in a few months. So we are making a big progress with all these formats. And yes, and you have to think, it's out of the box. You have to think in another way. Okay, you have this series, you have things that you're doing in the next year. You have things to do during this nothingness. But now you have to, I try to find new ideas that will be part of what we are going through. You know that in Yom Ha'atzmaut,
Independence Day.
Yeah, I have the permit to go out because I'm from the media. And I took that and I decided to go to my daughter to sit in the roof and to see my nephews, because my grandchildren are there, because it's okay. And it's the first time I saw Tel Aviv. And it's like in a horror movie or something not normal. I saw people with the mask, with small children, with dogs, very, very strange Tel Aviv. We are in a new,
empty,
normal world. I thought maybe I'm dreaming. It cannot be. It's not true. It's unbelievable. But I think from this we can grow up. I hope, because the situation in Israel is very difficult, because this government that we have, they don't help us. They don't help our sector at all. Not only me, the actors, the people who work in light, in sound. Nobody has any help from this government who speak with us every night and things. Nothing. It is a disaster. Most
the
of the
entertainment business is always hit hard in these kind of
these actors, don't the country can give them something as a salary for these 2 months? Nothing. We are exist, and all the production companies and everything. It's very, very crazy time, and it's very difficult to think about the future. What will be? We don't know.
Yeah, but Tmira,
so that's an interesting transition to Niv.
Yeah, I have something to say to. I have something to say to Tmira, because there is also a good thing from that, because you made many comebacks. The comedy store.
Okay, we made the comedy store.
And the pajamas. And Don't Nafsik Lashir. And so many cool things that you made, that this is the time for comebacks. And also Karni, that she's bringing the permission to do these things. Super cool.
So Niv, how are you?
Nothing was connected to me.
Niv, how are you raising money to do the web shows that you were talking about, to activate your actors at this time when nobody seems to have any money?
No, so first there is money, but everyone keep the money. And for me, I found myself raising money for web series of my actors. I represent someone, his name, in the US they will not know him, but his name is Jon Bovinski. He's like a game show talent. And he came to me with an idea to do some game show with costumers in the supermarkets, and we made it. I called to the supermarket, to Schufersal, and we had a campaign that his idea to make it. I just did the producer part and got money from there.
So it's really you as an agent now are taking initiatives to be not just to be the active member of your community to create and move them forward.
Everybody is acting right now.
Yeah,
everybody is active right now. But I'm afraid for something else. I'm afraid that it's the day after the corona. I wonder what would be the rate of the actors in Israel, because now the producer asked us, the agents, to work in 30% less, which is okay. We're in the same boat, as Shiri Maimon said, and everyone is understand that this is the situation. But I'm afraid what would be at the day after, because I understand there is no money. Karni, you might know, but I know there is no money from commercials. But at the day after the corona, and especially Keshet, will state themselves as almost the only one channel in Israel, and the commercials will be back, and the money will be back. But I wonder what would be the rates of. It's not the question is not for you, but I just wonder what would be the rates of an actor in Israel the day after, or maybe.
I'll tell you, everybody will need to cut their salaries and budgets. I don't know if you know, but most of the people that still work in the industry, and thank God some of us still work, we all had to reduce our salaries between 10 to 15%. We are now. That's right. The talents for more, and Tmira will tell you that we are cutting the budget of all of our productions, because even when we'll come back, I don't know if commercial will come back to normality, and for sure we lost such an amount of money in these months, because as you know, the months before Passover are the most strongest in the Israeli year. So yes, everybody will need to reduce part of their salary or the budget.
I'm going to jump to two things now because we don't have a lot of time because there are questions, and soon I'll ask you the questions that viewers are sending in. But Karni, tell us about quickly how Our Boys came about. Clearly a huge victory last night. Hold on. And it was one of the shows that were generated here, not there, but shot there. And shot in a very interesting way with Arabs and Jews. And I mean, it was all encompassing. So please give us a short rundown.
So luckily for us, HBO came to us and wanted us to do something about that summer, tragic summer of 2014, and they wanted Chagai Levi to be involved. And luckily for us, we love Chagai and we love to work with him. And he brought Joseph Sider, and they both brought Taufik because they understood that it's going to be a story from a lot of points of views, and we need a Palestinian creator with us. It took us more than 2 years only to write the script. It was a long and a very hard process. And I think what happened that in the beginning, we tried, the first pilot was made for an American eyes, and HBO said, yes, we love it, let's go. And when Chagai started to write with Sider and then with Taufik, they understood that they need to go back. They need to go back to the real events that really happened with Muhammad Aboulafia that summer. They want the point of view of the Jewish murderers. They need to go back to the core of the truth. And that show can't be in English. That show needs to be in Hebrew and in Arabic. And in every call that we had with executives from HBO that we worked with, every time Chagai used to say, but you remember, we're going to speak Hebrew and Arabic. There's no English in this series. And they keep on saying, yes, we believe in this series, because I think it would have been something else if we had to do it in English. And Chagai and Sider and Taufik really went with, where their heart was and with the story they wanted to tell. And I think they thought about Israeli audience, and then they thought about American audience. But most of the time, they thought about how are we going to tell a very good story. And
so it leads me to question number one, which is from Elliot. What was Karni's reaction to Prime Minister Netanyahu's comments about Our Boys?
I need to say that it was when I had like 3 days of a holiday in Greece, and then I got all the messages because I wanted, to keep apart. I needed some time after the 4 years of working on the series. In the first minute, I think I was quite hysteric, but on the second minute, when I saw also how Avi, receives it, and I understood that it's not something about our series. It's totally something political that has no connection really with the series. And I thought, like the creators thought, that this series is speaking for itself, and the people and the viewers that will watch it will understand that it's not anti-Semitic and it's not against Israel. And on the contrary, I think it's a show that make a very good name for Israel.
And I heard that last night, Chagai thanked the Prime Minister for helping the promotion of the show. So,
and he's right, he did a good work for us, because suddenly people knew and heard about this series and watched it. So thank you.
So Tmira, I have a question from you, from one of our viewers that is asking. She went to the Academy of Music in Jerusalem, and she lives in Argentina, and she would like to know what are the ways that she could get involved from there on the music side with Israeli shows?
What does she do? She writes, she
She's
sings.
a composer, music composer.
Maybe we can send her, because we have composers, of course, but maybe we can, if she send me some of her music, we'll see if we could do something with it.
So that's a perfect answer. I'm sure she's listening to us, and that's what, and you may get it soon. So the next question is, I'm looking, it was here for, is Beauty and the Baker coming back for season 3? And if so,
I answered on the private messages. I said maybe with a smile.
maybe with a smile.
Yes.
So we don't have a date yet to share with anybody.
We have a lot of information, we just don't want to share it.
That's fair, that's fair. Hold on, I'm looking for a question that I saw here. A 21-year-old, I have to find it, who wants to know how to get in here. I'm a filmmaker and completed my first 20-minute short. Niv,
yeah.
How should I get connected to an agent? What am I supposed to do with my 20-minute short?
Oh, well, it's super easy. There are so many agents. So just Google agent and you will find one. But let's see how good it is. Not
so really, the way for them to do it is to send their shorts to different agents.
Yeah, it's better to be talent, and if he has talent, I'm sure he will do things in life.
So that's really.
Without me.
And I think that's true for everybody. If you have talent, you will be seen. So, but it's true that you do need that first foot in the door to figure out how to make it happen. And Romi, somebody asked here, what inspired you to take action? And I know you spoke about some of it to make the transition, but maybe interestingly enough, I would say, I would modify that. You also became an editor. So what makes an actress actually, because you're working as an editor as we speak through this period. So do you want to talk just a little bit about it, how you take action in today's world and use any talent you have to do different things?
Well, it goes back to what Niv was saying, but more from the angle of maybe talent is one thing, but passion, I guess.
Right.
I just found editing specifically to be a zone, a creative zone, and a tool where I just lost myself, and I felt I was being myself, and I think that's what really drives us at the end of the day. And again, it's another way of sort of being a storyteller, very different from being an actor, and obviously that it does stand in the way. When I'm acting, being an editor is a bit of a negative, and not so much vice versa. But yeah, if you are, I don't know if this is coming from an actor, this question, but if it is,
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, I think again, it's about passion and drive, I guess.
So a question that I have that I haven't seen, but they're asking different ways, asking, how do I pitch a new idea? Now there's no offices, there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere, it's kind of amorphous. If you know somebody, you know how you're getting on the Zoom call to make the pitch. But I will ask a little bit different quickly from the panelists before the last question, which is, are you looking and it just in the reverse order of my screen, if you don't mind. Are you looking at different ideas? Start with Karni, and then I'm going to go quickly through all of you.
Are we looking now for different ideas?
For new ideas as a result of the period we've passed. Are the ideas that you are looking for the future to develop?
That's a good question. We just asked like 3 weeks ago from creators to write us a paper pitch paper, maximum 2 pages, if they have any idea of a series that relates to the corona situation. And we got like, I think more than 100. And I can't yet say, will we do something with some of these ideas, because we're in a situation that we're in the middle of this crisis, and we're talking about series that probably will take more than a year or two till they will happen. So it's a good question to try to think forward in 2 years. Will the audience want to watch something that has connection to what we're going through now? And on the other hand, can we just behave like nothing happened, and in 2 years we'll see just normal series? It's a good question. I don't have answers yet, but yes,
so,
we are looking.
But you've already done that with Tmira, right? With Sabri Maranan.
No, but
we did like one episode
especially
dedicated to the corona, like
and it's super cool.
I want to modify the questions for the rest of you. Are the series moving forward not related to the corona? Are you thinking about more comedy? And not for you, Karni, I'm moving on. When you're thinking of your next pitch, how are you looking at it in respect to what we've all passed through, not a series about the corona at the moment? So, Assi, you're next.
Answering questions to people in the Q&A section.
You are. That's so nice. So let me ask you quickly. When you're looking at your next pitch to the network, are you thinking of what the viewer will want to watch next? Or
Well, when I pitched The Baker and the Beauty, I thought that I wanna sell an idea for the Israeli TV. Then the skies opened to the world, and now when you pitch an idea, you have to think what will also sell overseas.
correct.
So that's what I'm trying to focus now. What would be my next show that can be sold quickly, and that can have many seasons, and that can be sold also to Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV. Basically, what is the most amazing idea that I can create to the world? And after thinking all of that, I get scared and I just go back to hosting.
Let us know what it is when you get it.
Yes.
Niv,
It's a nightmare.
how are you shifting your creative community to think?
No, I just wonder if the writers will reflect to the new rules. Will we see hugs, kisses, maybe masks in the scene that they write right now? That's I don't have an answer for that. But it's pretty like shooting or writing a period movie. The situation will be with us. It's like it's to write something that happened. You know, like when you're writing a period movies, you write about the cars and everything that wasn't the same thing. I just wonder if they will write about this, about masks, about hugs.
Tmira.
It's a very big problem, because we are now writing the series of Pamta, and we don't know if it will be shot in 2 years. The audience will see it, and we don't know if we have to say the impact of the corona, what will be, you can, to mention it, not to mention it. It's a very, very big problem how to react to the stuff that you're doing now, writing now. And to do something, the corona exactly like it happened, I think it will be strange. We don't know anything, you know.
Yeah.
That's the what I can say. It's we know nothing, and we should do meditation.
We still, I think, need perspective. We are in the middle of this crisis, and we don't know really what are going to be the impact. And probably we need more time to have perspective of what we're going through now.
Yeah.
Romi, how are you looking at it?
Just in light of because everybody said everything that was, you know, is I was going to mention, but I think in light of what everyone said, maybe it's a good time to think about, you know, period pieces or futuristic pieces. So things that are outside of our time, are sort of current current times and culture, and sort of imaginary spaces, imaginary cultures. Especially because we live in one now. Like no one imagined that this would be our reality. So I think it may allow for viewers to be more receptive to unusual setups.
Thank you. And I know there's a final question that, here it is. We are going to have a final question from Ari going through the panel. Please go ahead.
Sure, we can start with Karni and walk the way through. We just want to know, because the people watching this want some recommendations that they're stuck at home. What are you watching now? What do you recommend for people to tune into?
What did I watch now? The NBA series on Netflix, the one on Michael Jordan. I'm waiting for the new episode, The Last Dance. Yeah. And Community. It's a series that I loved like 8 years ago, and I'm so happy that it's back.
I just started watching it myself. We just had one of our advisory board members, Gary Foster, on, who produced it, and he recommended it on a previous panel, and I've gone watched it, and it's amazing. I couldn't believe the
Good
cast.
writing is everything in comedy. I want to say it's a simple idea, simple budget, and a great show.
Yeah, Tmira, what are you watching right now?
Very, very strange for the poor people, what I recommend. First of all, the series about Vietnam that in Netflix. Whoa, this doco is something else. It's not and you can see that the things go worse than where you are now when you look at it. But no, this is very, very artistic one and very, very interesting. And the other doco is the crazy guy with the
tiger.
Tiger King.
Tiger King.
So Vietnam and tigers.
Yeah.
Niv, what are you watching?
I'm watching The Crown on Netflix.
I'm watching The Crown.
Really?
10 years
Wow.
later.
Let's do Zoom together. I'm working together by Zoom.
There you go. And Assi?
Okay. I'm watching RuPaul's Drag Race.
Good. Me too. Yeah.
Finally. And I'm watching illegally a show from the States that I love. It's called Real Housewives of New York.
Oh,
everybody.
That's not streamed into Israel?
They must bring them here, the girls. I want to be one of the girls. It's an amazing show. I love trashy American TV. I love it. I was born watching Dynasty, so for me, this is like real Dynasty. Like
maybe your intro into America will get you a guest spot on one of the Real Housewives. and
Be
Romi,
careful with what you promised us. He will remember it.
Exactly. Romi, what are you watching?
Yeah, so I'm watching The Crown. Which I said before. And I live in the UK, and I haven't watched it still, so it's nice. And I'm watching the reality show on Keshet, with the couples.
The Married
Married at First Sight.
Yes. Which I have to say, I did like the previous season more, but you can't stop watching it.
That's right. We have a very good season.
And Orly, what are you watching right now?
Unorthodox, I just finished.
That's a good
Mrs. America and The Last Dance, which unfortunately we get 1 or 2 episodes every Sunday, which is the Michael Jordan, which is fantastic for somebody who loves basketball. Maybe the only sport I have in common here, because football is not my favorite. So it's an excellent documentary.
And it's great to get something new while everybody's stuck at home.
Exactly.
There's no sports on.
It's yeah.
Well, I'll say this panel was absolutely amazing. Our boys, I think if anybody hasn't watched it, you need to go watch that, because I think some people in America still haven't seen it. Euphoria, which Tmira did.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Israeli version, but the American version is probably one of my top shows of the last year. And I saw people asking Q&A about it. We're all excited for season 2. The casting, the actors, the storyline, very edgy and amazing. I need to go watch Baker and the Beauty and Beauty and the Baker. I probably better watch both versions. Maybe Beauty and the Beast. I'll watch it all. Anyhow, once again, Creative Community Repeats is a nonprofit organization, and we rely on donations to do our work. So if you'd like to donate, it's up on the screen now, ccfpeace.com. Also, you can sign up for our email list, because we have many more panel discussions coming up over the next 2 weeks. We hope to see everybody soon. Everybody, thank you on the panel. Stay safe and be well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.